A 6-year-old boy used a slingshot to shoot down a German aircraft, but when he turned back to show off, his mother and brother suddenly disappeared. This is not a movie, but the real experience of the youngest soldier in World War II. A story begins in the Soviet Union in 1942. A 6-year-old boy named Sergei wakes up from a nightmare, shouting desperately for his mother. He thought his mother would walk in as usual, but it was the neighbor Aunt who came in a panic. Aunt told him that the German air raid had resulted in his mother and brother tragically losing their lives. Sergei could not understand the meaning of death, stubbornly waiting at home for his mother to return. However, the sound of the German soldiers' footsteps was getting closer. The aunt pushed him out of the window with all her strength, but she fell into a pool of blood. In an instant, the home was reduced to ashes. All family members died, and 6-year-old Sergei became an orphan. He ran aimlessly into the forest, crying and shouting for his mother, but only endless echoes answered him. Hunger made him drink river water to ease his stomach. When he saw the German army passing by, he immediately hid in a tree hole. Not even the snake beside him could scare him away. Because he knows, compared to the cold snake, those soldiers are more deadly. He dared to secretly pick up the food the German soldiers had left and eat it hungrily, only after they had gone. He had been exhausted for 2 days, suffering from hunger and cold. He walked with a limp, and the explosion behind him made him hallucinate, as if someone was chasing him. He pretended to be brave and warned the other party that he had a gun, but in the end, he collapsed from exhaustion. Wait for him to wake up again. He found himself taken back to the camp by 2 Soviet soldiers. Facing Commander Kuznetsov, this little one showed no fear and even reached out to ask the commander to introduce himself. His innocence and stubbornness brought a touch of humanity to the cold and severe military camp. Soldiers rushed to give him water and food. Even the usually cold-hearted commander personally took care of him. Nurse Kati dressed his wound, but he innocently asked to draw a tank on the wound because he wanted to be a soldier when he grew up. Sergei's appearance became a spiritual comfort for the soldiers in the brutal war. Commander even took out his own honor pistol and removed the bullet so he could play with it. Although everyone liked Sergei, the commander still insisted on sending him to a safe orphanage. Soldiers took turns to visit him, sharing the delicious food sent by their families and treating him like their own child. They collectively asked the commander to leave the child, whose presence could temporarily make them forget the weight of war. But the commander had made up his mind. For the child's safety, he had to be firm. The special day arrived, and the commander gave a wooden pistol as a gift to Sergei. But the boy held him tightly, choking back tears as he said he was afraid something might happen to the commander. At this moment, the commander's iron-like heart melted completely. He changed his mind and decided to adopt Sergei as his son. Soldiers were overjoyed and sewed a mini uniform for him all night. Sergei, dressed in new clothes, has become a real little soldier. However, the German air raids came again, and the number of injured continued to increase. Sergei did his part. He gave water to thirsty soldiers and read letters from home to wounded soldiers who were blindfolded. Although he could not read, the story he made up made everyone laugh and brought them joy. He volunteered to take on tasks and became the unit's communications soldier responsible for delivering mail. One day, while Sergei was playing with a telescope, he keenly noticed that someone's leg was moving in the distant haystack. He immediately ran back to report, and the soldiers followed him half-believingly, and they really caught 2 German spies. Sergei, who was clever, noticed that his adoptive father liked Nurse Kajay, and he actively played the role of a matchmaker, encouraging his father to confess his feelings. The situation is once again critical. The communication cable between the front line and the command center has been cut. A soldier was killed by a bullet while going for repair. Sergei followed closely and asked the dying soldier about the repair method. Then he alone fixed the cable. Communication restored. Reinforcements arrived, This 6-year-old saved everyone again. After the crisis, the commander finally confessed to Katya, hoping she could become Sergei's mother. However, happiness had just arrived. The unit received an order to move. On the way, they unfortunately entered a minefield. In the explosion, the commander was injured. A soldier close to Sergei was killed on the spot, and he cried out in grief, holding his adoptive father. General arrived at the new base and personally awarded the young hero with an honor medal. In a brutal night attack, the commander was buried under the ruins, and Sergei dug through the stones with his bare hands, crying, "Dad." His tender hands were full of scars, but he had already become an indispensable member of this steel team. He participated in the Battle of Stalingrad with his unit and fought all the way to Poland. He is Sergei Aleshkov, the youngest soldier in world history. His legend is still being told around the world.